It's now time for Remember When with Uncle John. John Guess, Ouachita County's resident storyteller and local historian. Sit back now and enjoy a walk down memory lane as John recalls the days of yesteryear in his own unique way. You never know, some of it might even be true. So here's Uncle John, along with his trusty sidekick, Kelly Blair.
Back on Remember When with Uncle John. Well, we have reached Wednesday, and around here, these parts, that means it is Wrasteling Wednesday, one of my favorite days of the week. John, who you want to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about somebody most folks probably ain't never heard of.
I'll be honest, you threw me a curveball on this one.
The Mormon Giant, Don Leo Jonathan.
I had never heard of this guy that I can remember. Now, I'm getting to that age, but
before Andre the Giant became a household name, Don Leo Jonathan was considered the giant of wrestling.
Okay.
He was a full-fledged Mormon.
One of the first big men.
He was a second-generation wrestler trained by his daddy, who was called Brother Jonathan. His real name was Don Heaton.
I got you.
Debuted in 1949 after he served in the Navy during World War II. Trained under his daddy, and he was a big man. And he wrestled all the big names: Gene Kiniski, Dory Funk Jr., Jack Briscoe. He had a run in the WWF against Bruno Sammartino, later on Pedro Morales. He was a giant of a man. He was tall. He was about 6'6", 6'7", but he was all, he was lean and muscular and just huge. Had those big, remember when, you may not remember when sideburns were popular.
Oh, no, yeah.
He had those big mutton chop sideburns. But a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal wrestler, toured the world, was in very high demand. Of course, later on, big men like Andre the Giant and Ernie Ladd and those kind of people, Big John Studd came along. But before that, he was considered the giant of wrestling. He was just a huge raw bone guy, and was just a big draw. He was like Andre, he traveled around a lot, and wherever he went, arenas were sold out.
Absolutely. Like you said, 6'6", and anywhere from 285 to 340 back in 1949, 1950, that was a big man.
That was a big man, and he gave Andre the Giant his first defeat, although it was by disqualification in 1972 when Andre was first starting out, when he was still called Andre Rusmov.
Yeah, probably doing the head scissors and flying moves.
He was able to do that then, but Don Leo Jonathan gave him his first defeat, and he was beginning to wind his career down then, but he was still in demand and could still command a top price, and a sellout was pretty much guaranteed when you had him on the card.
Well, I noticed he actually kept wrestling all the way up until like 1980. So, he had 3 decades worth of a career. Unfortunately, he got out just as it was. I know he was getting older by then, but just as it was really starting to get profitable.
And he was in several movies, he was in several TV shows. His last match, it was actually a 6-man tag match with him and Andre and Roddy Piper against the Sheep Herders and Buddy Rose.
Oh, Buddy Rose.
And he was in the Navy in World War II and was always fascinated with the water, and he became a deep sea diver. And he had his own company. He founded several underwater inventions, patented several things after he retired from wrestling, and he had a very good career in underwater exploration. Done a lot of rescue stuff for the Navy and for the government. Phenomenal athlete, and later on contributed to the government.
Yep, there you go. But lived all the way until 2018, aged 87. That's a pretty good run right there.
That's a pretty good run right there.
There's a couple of us around here. We'll be fine with that. If they'll give me 87 years, I'll take it right now.
I'll just take 78 if I can get that.
I hear that too.
But he was a big draw. Of course, that was. I never got to see him. I don't know that he ever traveled this part of the South, but I never got to see him. But you can go on YouTube and see him. There's films of him on YouTube. So
hey, there you go.
But he was before Andre and Ernie Ladd and those people, he was considered the giant in wrestling.
Nice. That's where I got to learn something today. Here we go.
Absolutely.
Hey, that's going to wrap up Remember When with Uncle John for today. You know, we'll be right back here tomorrow, though. Big shout out to ProMed Ambulance Service for being one of our great sponsors.
1-800-634-0436. Give them a call.
Also, Sherwin-Williams House Paint, 315 Jefferson Street, with all the supplies you need for that interior housework and some exterior housework as well. 836-8125.
And we got J.J. Lindsay down at the Shopper's Guide. If you got some stationery, you need some business cards, give old J.J. a shout. He fixed us up.
And Prescott Raceway, you can check out their full schedule at PrescottRaceway.net. Find them on Facebook. Be sure to check them out on Facebook if there's a chance of rain, so you know if they have any cancellations, changes in time schedule, anything like that. Or give them a call at 904-5952 before you head over to 5121 Highway 53 East, right outside of Prescott. I guess we'll see you tomorrow, John.
See you tomorrow, Kelly.
You've been listening to Remember When with Uncle John on Y95. This broadcast can be heard each weekday morning at 6:45 on South Arkansas's favorite station, Y95.